Hello class. Okay, this is a simple lesson in how to draw the average cost family of curves. And let's draw the average total cost curve first. It's really very simple. It makes a bowl shape. Average total cost. Average total cost. Makes a bowl shape. An easy way of thinking about it is, if you remember the assumptions that we started with, that we had a factory, there was machinery in the factory, and everything was set up and ready to go, and we began to add the variable factor, which is traditionally thought of as labor. And we added one worker and another and another. And in the beginning, there were gains from specialization, which is shown by this reduction in the unit cost. Each time we hire a worker, the unit cost is going down because we're getting more and more efficient. Then we got to a place where that was kind of maxed out, where there weren't any more gains to be had. That would be down here at this place. And then, actually that's not true, it's a different place, but think of it this way, that there are gains from specialization. They finally play out, and as we get in diminishing returns, the average total cost curve finally meets that place, and it bottoms out. That's here. So one way of thinking of that place is it's the most efficient output based on the capacity of your plant. Any output less than that, your unit costs are higher, and you can get more output out of your plant, but it requires, working overtime or running the machines at a faster, more expensive rate, and so forth. So there's some place that minimizes the unit cost, and every place that deviates from that, the unit costs are a little higher. That's one way of thinking of the average total cost curve. Next, I want to draw the average variable cost curve. And the only difference between the two is that the variable cost curve doesn't include those fixed costs. It only includes the variable cost. So when output is really high, way out here on the right, the average fixed costs are really small because it's spread over a lot of units. So the difference between average variable cost and average total cost is very, very tiny. But as you go back, that is, as output gets lower and lower and lower, the two curves diverge from each other. And the minimum point on the average variable cost is below and to the left of the minimum point on the average total cost curve. And they look like that. So they have the same basic shape. But the average variable cost curve is everywhere below the average total cost curve, and its minimum point is always to the left. See, always to the left of the minimum point on the average total cost curve. Now the last curve to draw is the marginal cost curve, and it starts high. We don't normally draw it, but it starts high, it goes down, and then it finally turns, and it must, this is important now, it must pass through these two minimum points that you found on the average total cost and average variable cost curve. And marginal cost rises like that. So if you drew it badly, you wouldn't lose all your points, but you might lose a point or two if you drew it badly. And here are the key things to remember. The average total cost curve and average variable cost curve have the same basic shape, but the average variable cost curve is always below, and the minimum points line up like this. The minimum point on average variable cost is always below and to the left of the minimum point on average total cost. And the marginal cost curve, I don't care about this piece over here, we rarely ever draw it, but the marginal cost curve rises and must pass through those two minimum points. If you do that, you'll be in good shape every time. Okay, hope you found that helpful. Good luck.